Hey guys, Cool Blind Way back. I'm Rick.
I'm Maggie.
And we're here with Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Last time on,
we had a great episode with all of the Tachikomas.
might be the last episode with the Tachikomas. They've been decommissioned.
No!
Sent to the lab.
That's a horrible word for that.
It's exactly what happened. They're out of the field because they feel things. And they're thinking about.
They're asking questions too quickly. It's okay that they feel things and they're thinking about things. They're just progressing fast.
And unpredictably, which you don't want in the battlefield.
Well, I mean, it didn't seem like it was unpredictable. It was just progressing faster than they wanted. So, like, it sounded like they knew that they were going to start asking these questions and get to this point, but they just got there very quickly.
But they were lying and disobeying orders and spying, like things that they should not be doing.
They were exercising extra freedom that they did not understand the power of yet. Kind of like a child.
Kind of indeed. We had a little bit with Saito about a new sniping rig that he did not much care for. I was hoping we'd get a little more from him, but it turned out to be about the Tachikomas, which was fun too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But
we did find out he's the most human person after
Togasa. Yes.
Yeah.
He has the least number of enhancements or augmentations next to him. So we'll see what happens this time if we get back to the Laughing Man, if we continue up on the Tachikomas, or on the hacking of Togasa's machine, which might have to do with the Laughing Man. We'll see.
Or maybe there's just someone, I don't know, trying making money.
Where's the mouse? I can't end the intro. Where is it?
What?
Where's the mouse?
I'm still upset if you mar my table.
Here's the mouse.
Wonder how long that's been aged.
What?
The mead.
Oh, I don't know. But Bato, boxing, coffee, mead. What an episode! If there was just wrestling, would have had all my likes and pinball.
He even has long hair.
And board games.
You could cosplay as him.
That's Bato? Yeah. He has no beard. It'd have to be him with a beard.
Just slick it down. It would make your chin as big as his.
They say never meet your heroes. But I don't think that there's anything Neil Breen or Tommy Wiseau could do to make me think less of them.
Can you truly... Is a person truly your hero if you've never even met them?
I mean, if you want to talk about it in the Joseph Campbell idea, then all heroes are fictional.
Fictional.
Yeah. So you couldn't meet them. They don't exist. Which I think is...
But there's a difference between someone that I've met who I think who is my hero, that they could let me down and it would hurt. But anybody else in this whole world that if I hadn't met and I just thought oh, they're a cool person, they're doing good stuff, you're good on you and such, if they end up being oh, it turns out been sexual assaulting women for decades or something like that, it would be ew, yuck. I regret having said I liked that person at one time, but I don't think it would hurt me as much as someone I actually met.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on your definition. I do like the definition that a hero can only be fiction, even if it's just a fictional image of someone that is real or was real.
Oh yeah, because with Bato, I doubt he was mourning the actual guy. He was probably mourning the effect that guy had on him.
Yeah. Which I wonder what that was. Bato seems to have done some boxing. So was he a competitive boxer as well, and that's why he idolized him?
He liked him. He was winning. He went over. That's how you make a star.
And what is the prosthetic blind spot? Is that a blind spot that people who use prosthetics have.
Maybe it's kind of like the blind spot in the center of your eye that your brain shades out.
Yeah.
Maybe they create, or maybe that shows up in prosthetics as well, that you can't tell it's there.
So would that imply that Pablo did not have any prosthetics, and therefore he did not have the same blind spot, or he just knew how to circumvent it? Because his medal for the Olympics is silver medal. It said like Paralympics. So I wonder what that means in this universe.
It's probably people that are way more badass with prosthetics and such.
Well, it could be the opposite. Like Paralympics could be people who have no augmentations.
What about the definition of para?
I don't know.
Because I don't think you just use the normal Olympics. I think it has to do with like people with augmentations and prosthetics and such.
Could be.
It always bothers me when I see like boxing guys and such. It's like they always have those cute little like things on their jaw to basically, as if that's going to protect them from damage. It's like, I feel like a jaw getting broken is like way less serious than like something happening to your spine back there with your head. Like, that's not the issue. Like, the big thing is always like your brain getting rocked and your neck getting messed up from being like hit so much. Like your jaw can break and they wire it shut, like taken care of. But like there's always this, they always like put like a silver jaw with shark teeth in it, or
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that other than here.
007.
Wow, he's not a boxer, is he?
There was a couple. I feel like I've seen it several times where it's just been like guys with giant metal jaws.
Yeah.
It's a trope.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's always like you try to punch him and it's like, oh, my hand. But
Trap Jaw from He-Man, I think that's his name.
yeah, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say a glass jaw, and if anyone gets hit in the jaw, like your legs just kind of stop responding, like your brain goes into overdrive mode. But some people have stronger jaws than others. I think it's just like if you could get rid of that connection, then that would be a huge advantage.
Getting damaged, or is it the something happening to like the spine or all the nerves going through the neck?
I'm pretty sure it's just the motion of the jaw. Like once that happens, there's some sort of pre-programmed trigger within the brain that's like, shut it all down.
I took too big of a bite.
Like there definitely is, you get hit and like the brain rattles around, and that's the concussion part of it. And like that will also fuck you up. Especially if it happens multiple times.
I feel like that would actually permanently fuck you up a lot more than, say, getting a broken jaw.
Oh, definitely. It definitely would. But the jaw is more likely to make it so you cannot get back up and keep fighting. Whereas, unfortunately, with the concussion, that's why you have to have good refs, and there should maybe only be a one knockdown rule in boxing, because with concussions, you can get back up, and you can, like, your muscle memory can just take over, and you can continue to box. But that's where the real damage comes in. That's why you need good refs who can stop it, or just a one knockdown rule. But I think it's still 3 right now.
I'm sorry. There's a lot about combat sports that I feel is totally, totally insane. Really, really insane. And I don't support a lot of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Most sports, like football, is much more dangerous. Any contact sport, really.
Sumo? Like, I know they get injured and such, but
yeah.
But if they weren't on top of the clay doyo,
if it wasn't 3 feet up, sumo would have a lot less injuries.
Yeah, and they only do that in Japan, where it's so traditional and such.
Well, no, Mongolia, and there's U.S. sumo as well.
Yeah, I know there's U.S. sumo. I've watched it. It's flat.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But
there's a circle on the ground.
I mean, even with sumo,
whatever,
I think it was last year where they had that really scary concussion incident where they did not handle it well. Because it doesn't happen as often, so they just didn't have the protocols for it.
Exactly. But like if they had, that's just not thinking ahead and not preparing for the worst. especially when there's people that are training their bodies to such close tolerances.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the responsibility falls on the ref and the coaches, I feel like.
And the people who control the sport.
True. Because the fighter is always going to want to keep fighting.
Yeah. So they are immediately unable to make informed decisions.
Yeah, like the decision should not be left to them. But for this episode, had some pretty good boxing. I've been watching Hajime no Ippo lately, which is a boxing anime. And the boxing in that is way better. But this, for not being a boxing anime, was still really good. I like the animation.
They didn't breathe.
You kind of heard it a little bit, but...
It sounded more just like they're whooshing from the punches moving so fast.
Well, the thing is, like, when you breathe in boxing, that's kind of what it sounds like. Like, the breath is a...
Yes, but it's like... their faces weren't moving. Were they, like, exhaling out the back of their heads or something? Like...
You can do it with your nose, too.
Like, I've heard you go at it.
Yeah.
And that... You have to agree with me. That anime, those sequences, were not built to make you think that was the people breathing. They're built to make you think that was their punches just ripping apart the air in front of their fist.
Really, they should have just all grunted like Lex Luger every time they were hit.
That's not great. That's
That would have been the best. Yeah, Bato, bad day. His children had to be sent back to the lab. His hero disappointed him. His poor wife was trying to be nice. Making mead. It was unappreciated. I feel like I always appreciate your mead.
Yes. I told you I found half a box while I was cleaning the basement, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That should be pretty good.
It should be freaking amazing.
All right. Do you have anything else for this one? I think that does it for me.
I mean, don't feel like we really saw much more technologically or kind of explain more of the world as far as like laws or social norms.
The big thing I think is with sports, like, they take people out of, it's very complicated, but like when they find out that people have used steroids, like, do you take them out of the record books or not? Like, it's an unfair advantage. And I feel like in this sort of world with prosthetics, and I'm sure there are even crazier drugs here, like that will be
Formula One racing. Like, I feel like with prosthetics would be even easier to track and make sure of certain things because you'd literally have data sheets on all of their enhancements. You'd be like, show up with a folder.
Well,
it's like, here's all my upgrades.
But with enough money involved, like, there's always people trying to...
With enough money, of course, everything's
circumvent,
gonna break.
and there will be people who find it. And in this, I feel like it's even more dangerous because, like, the people who want to be competitive at the sport feel pressured to take steroids or whatever drugs in order to be at the same level of the people who are cheating. And in this world, I imagine that would be even crazier because the drugs and the prosthetics would have an even greater effect on performance.
All you have to do is just create separate categories for, are you taking drugs? Are you prosthetics? Are you like...
I think that's one way. That's one way to do it, but you get the people who cheat in the wrong category so that they are more effective. So
then then you would have to create systems in order to properly categorize people. It's kind of like the same thing that they're having trouble with like people transgender like sports stuff. Mm-hmm. And like the fact that women's and men's sports have always been separated doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good idea or plan. We really, it should be more like handicaps, where it's like people with the same handicap go against each other, basically. It doesn't matter what gender they are.
I guess, but how do you, like, what do you mean by a handicap?
Well, like, with skeet shooting or like golf or whatever, it's like you're not actually, you are like kind of struggling against the people around you to all try to get the best score, but you also have your own handicap.
Sure, but what determines that? Your
own progress, or your own what you've done already. So like the median of all your scores or something like that would determine your handicap. And so what you're just trying to do is basically get your best possible time.
But that only works in solitary sports like golf, right? It doesn't work in boxing, right?
I mean, you also have teams. Like you'd have your own personal, like how you've ever done against this course, or how you've ever done against any sort of situation. Or you could literally just put people through a standardized test, and whatever they score at that general time, it's like you just put the people against that same
I think thing. I get it. So every sport should be chess with the ELO rating.
Kind of. I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, that could work.
Like
and then you could have tournaments of different like ELO thresholds.
Exactly. Like it doesn't matter if like the fact that sports have always been separated gender-based is a very, very old, like going back, forever, like keep the women and the men separate sort of thing. But that actually has nothing to do with the capabilities. It's just, those sort of rules.
Yeah. Again, the danger would be people tanking on purpose to lower their ELO ratings to qualify for tournaments where they're actually much better or much better suited.
But isn't it really easy to tell if someone's basically faking or taking, like in baseball, because they track so many
I mean, there are rules in baseball that like rules on whether or not things are intentional, but that's all up to human judgment and human error.
Well, I mean, exactly. The more places you can put humans in that process, the better.
The worse, especially for baseball.
Well,
like if a strike is a strike and you define a strike as a certain way and a computer can rule it that same way every single time, that's better than a human trying to implement that same system.
Sure, and you could have rules set up, and you can have rules that are being watched by the computer, but at any given like final choice sort of thing, you really do need a human there to be like, okay, in this situation there's all these weird little variables that the computer wasn't set up to track that we need to take into consideration. I mean, otherwise, what are we talking about anyway? In the future, all sports are going to be VR.
Maybe. All right, let's see if we continue to follow. We didn't really follow too much, but we got a little Tachikoma this time. I wonder, it's nice getting...
We need to look up that song, too. It sounded creepy AF.
Yeah, it's nice getting the thread lines even in the standalone episodes, too. Yeah. Like some connective tissue, so let's see what happens next. Thank you guys so much for watching our reaction to Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. We want to watch the next one. You can right now over at patreon.com/blindwave. You can watch our reaction to the next one or the next 4, along with all the other shows that are non-live shows that we are reacting to right now. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.